Good morning. Hi. Just wanted to pop in and say howdy to everybody. It is, what does it say here? It's about 4:40 a.m. on Saturday. So it's the Saturday before Easter. I always like that day. When I was a little Catholic boy, Lent would be over. Somehow they just decided that Lent would be over at like noon on Saturday before Easter. So we could then maybe get a piece of candy after that, because we had given up eating candy all through Lent, you know. Now I just give up giving up things for Lent. I find that to be easier. So there's you guys who are going to celebrate Easter, and there are you guys who are going to be celebrating and are celebrating Passover, and there are you pagans who are celebrating, and I hope people are celebrating, because what else we do? Got to stay home, got to do something, right? And I hope everybody's happy, and I hope everybody's healthy. It's weird outside, most definitely so, and not a good weird, not a let's smoke some weed and see some hippies kind of weird, but it's like an inside-out sock. But what can we do? Had me think about, and I might have talked with somebody about this recently, about like in Shakespeare's day, they had the plague then. So obviously they didn't shut down either. And what they would do in the time of plagues, at the Globe Theater, the rich people sat in the back of the theater and the poor people sat up front. There's a little bit of Marxism going on there. I keep thinking of that story for some reason. It's probably one of the few things I remembered from Shakespeare class in college, because it was 8 o'clock in the morning, and I thought if I took speed before I went to class, I would retain more, and actually I retained less. But these are things you learn. So anyway, stuff like that. So the cool thing about the world we live in is we don't have to contaminate people. We can just sit in our houses and we can communicate this way with people. And as I say, I hope everybody's okay. I wanted to read a poem, and I'm trying to select poems that aren't downer poems, and I think the last poem I did, I talked a little bit about Vinnie Van Gogh. I think Vinnie and I were friends at one time, something like that. But anyway, so this poem is a cool poem. It's called Self-Portrait at the Lumiere Factory. And the Lumiere Factory was owned by the Lumiere brothers, and the Lumiere brothers were the first people to make a movie. They owned a light factory, and they were also involved. At that time, everybody was an inventor, it seems like. So they actually created and made the first movie. It was called Closing Time at the Lumiere factory. And the self-portrait I talk about is Van Gogh's blue portrait. I don't know if you remember it or not, but it's him in a blue suit and things like that. And that was the painting he painted right after he did Starry Night. So the painting after Starry Night. I don't think I'll be speaking in logical sequence this morning. And I always thought, or always think, or whatever, about like the next day after Van Gogh painted Starry Night. I mean, what would be in your head if, I mean, first of all, I can't imagine having done that. And secondly, imagine what your head would be like the next day. All those stars, you know. So you paint Starry Night, go to sleep, and you wake up, and you know, what's your next day like, right? And the thing about Vinnie Van too was that, you know, not everybody liked his work. As I mentioned, I think in the last video, they did not like Starry Night. Tio didn't like Starry Night, and they made Vincent feel like he kind of fucked up by doing it. If you remember Dr. Ray, and you remember the portrait of Dr. Ray, painted by Van Gogh, well, Dr. Ray's mother was using it to patch a hole in her chicken coop, if you can imagine something like that, you know. So, yeah, what do people know about stuff? And as artists and poets and stuff, how much do we really want people? How much do we really want from people? Or is the creation itself sufficient? And I think that's where a lot of people have various and varying ideas about that subject. The other thing I mentioned here is Mia Farrow, the insane Mia Farrow, having lunch with Dali when she was a teenager. I mentioned that here too. And then I, you know, do my usual stuff. So, hope everyone's fine, as I said. And once again, if there are those people who are having difficulty being in their apartments, in their houses, and if they're feeling isolated, hey, let me know. You know, I'll do a magic trick or tell you lies or something. You know, I'm good at that. So, I hope everybody all over the world is having a good day. Happy Easter to everybody. I hope there's lots of good food to eat for everybody. I know where in the world I come from, everybody eats tons of food on Easter and lots of chocolate bunnies and things like that. So this poem is called Self-Portrait at the Lumiere Factory. Everything a suspiration of blue. Visiting Dr. Ray's mother, his portrait of her son patching a hole in the chicken coop. Warehouse prices for vicodin. The teenage me of Farrow lunching with Dali on the kaart, butterfly wings on crackers. Attar of wind, a discussion of gussets, trombones, geants. 100 billion stars. So, as Woody Porky Pig used to say, that's all, folks. See y'all soon. Everybody be happy. Evildoers beware.